there was something wrong. And they didn't actually at that point know exactly what was wrong, just that something was fishy. And they published a study about that in early 2014. Nobody much noticed, but outside the industry, outside this very kind of subculture of people who follow emissions. But among those who noticed was the California Air Resources Board, which is the regulator that enforces the clean air laws in California. And they were concerned enough that they put together what they call a compliance project. They used their cloud as a regulator to assemble a small fleet of Volkswagens and then did intensive testing. And if Volkswagen had been smarter, they would have at that moment confessed and said, mea culpa, we did something bad, we're really sorry, we'll fix it. But that's not the way the people at Volkswagen ticked. And instead, they mounted a cover-up which wound up lasting a good year and a half. And they fed the regulators misleading information, false information. There was this dialogue between the California regulators and Volkswagen, long discussions about what was causing this problem. And Volkswagen kept telling them that it was some technical issue. They would get it under control. They did a recall to update the software. That didn't fix the problem. But it was all basically just a smokescreen delaying the day of reckoning. And finally, you have to give CARB some credit. They really kind of stuck with it, kept pushing, and eventually in September 2015, Volkswagen ran out of excuses. One of their engineers went up to one of the top people at CARB at a conference and said, it's a defeat device. In other words, that's what this type of software is called, as a defeat device, because it's designed to defeat the emissions. And the regulators were extremely angry, to put it mildly, because they felt they had been jerked around for a year and a half. And that made the whole thing much more expensive for Volkswagen because they had squandered any goodwill they might have had with the regulators. I think if they had fessed up right at the beginning, it might have cost them in the hundreds of millions or maybe a few billion at the most, and wound up costing them $22 billion in the United States so far. And there's still a lot of outstanding cases in Europe.